Welcome to Build with Rob. It is your boy, Rob Dyrdek, CEO and founder of the Dyrdek Machine, that one-of-a-kind venture creation studio where we systematically fuse art, science, and magic to manufacture amazing. And we manufacture amazing companies and amazing existences. And this show is all about living a harmonious, integrated, high-quality existence. That is amazing. Thank you for tuning in as always. Wherever you listen, make sure you subscribe, comment, talk about how balanced and amazing your life is, from taking some cues from how your boy is living this highly optimized existence that is the machine mindset. Appreciate you all as always. You know, you want to be a part of our world. DyrdekMachine.com. Send in a video, be on the podcast. You know, if you're feeling up to it, donate to our Do or Die Visionary Foundation. You want to participate and be one of our consumer collaborators, become a machinist. Be a part of it. Get some feedback. Let's hear what you got to say. You know, we love hearing and connecting with everybody that is part of this world that is all things machine. Today, I have a super more unique guest, I would say. You know, traditionally we have entrepreneurs that are, you know, pitching some sort of product or business or service. But this young man actually is pitching a television concept, and it's a unique one. But I actually will be guiding him away from television. So you can look forward to seeing where, you know, you could shape a man's vision into a more believable, plausible, and perhaps a better opportunity. And that's what we got going here today. You know, and one thing that you'll see from his life question is he's really about, like, you know, it's like, what do you do when something really bad or things get really dark, you know, and you know, and I answer that question in sort of a unique way, but it really has me thinking about, you know, the importance of balance, right? I preach it all the time. Like, okay, you've got to design balance and get better at living a balanced life if you want to live a happy, harmonious existence, right? But what I need to implore is that a balanced mind equals a balanced life. Okay, like it is essential that your mind is as balanced as your time and your energy and your capacity. Like, the only way for you to actually live an amazing, high quality life is to have a balanced mind, you know, because what you think about in between the action that you're taking and doing to fill up your time each day is your total capacity. And even if you become incredibly balanced and have mastered time and energy and take care of yourself, and you are, you know, getting up every day at the same time and eating right and working out and meditating and brain training and doing everything in a highly efficient, balanced way, if your mind is being pulled in a million directions inside the hours that you are dedicating to each things, or it's draining energy from you, or pulling from you, creating stress, you're never going to fully be balanced, right? You ultimately need a balanced mind to have quality energy, and quality energy is essential to a high quality life, you know? And I say it all the time as it relates to the importance of your thoughts and how every single one of them count, and your mind share is ultimately your capacity, and you have to be super diligent about understanding what draws that mind share, you know, because again, you know, if you're pulled into dwelling or hoping and wishing, you're getting nothing done. So if something happens to you and then you're just spending all this time thinking about, oh, I wish I would have done this. Oh God, if I could have done that, like this would be different. Like, boy, you are losing energy. You are basically dragging your evolution and progression to a halt, and you're bummed out. the same way that if you go all the way over to the hoping and wishing and like, oh, I just wish things were different. I wish I had a better job. I wish people would buy my product. I wish I had more balance. It's like you're spending energy and mind share in two places that are getting you nowhere, right? Because ultimately you either have to be problem solving, experiencing, or creating the future. As I've said many times, your thoughts and decisions equal your experience, and what you're living today is based off the thoughts and the decisions that you had in the past, and when it comes to having a balanced mind, there's sort of a framework, right? Like you have to begin to understand your own personal capacity to make sure that you have a surplus of mind share to continue to keep everything organized and efficient. Otherwise, like if you go beyond capacity, that's when you will become overwhelmed and now you don't know what to think about. It's like you have so much to think about, you don't know what to think about. And when you're in that state, when you're overwhelmed, like, man, now you get super reactionary. What are you doing? Like you're thinking of all these things that you should change that are much more dramatic to try to get away from being overwhelmed. And this is something that I have suffered with over and over in my life, because I'm like managing the ambition itself has always been difficult for me, because like I just want to keep doing the next thing and the next thing. Oh, we could do that. And really, for me personally, it was the discovery of capacity when I was overwhelmed last year that really brought to the forefront this idea of like, man, I'm underestimating how important mind share is and having a balanced mind is. Because last year, look, you know what it is. Like last year was one of the most disciplined and balanced years I've ever had. You know what I mean? I track all my time. I design and manage all my time super efficiently. I was super disciplined with all of my quantitative. Did I get up at 5? Did I brain train? Did I meditate? Did I eat clean? Did I get in the gym? Did I not drink? What did it do? Then that drove up my quality of life. All my qualitative numbers would tell you it was the best year from a quality perspective of my life. But in the middle of May last year, boy, I got slammed and just ripped completely out of balance. And I couldn't fathom, how could I be out of balance when I'm the most balanced and disciplined person there is? And the truth is I was overwhelmed. I underestimated how much mind share was going to be drawn from me, because I was now, launching a couple new companies. We launched MindRight last year, launched the foundation last year, started doing Build with Rob last year. All of these things together, I started doing additional like podcast interview and press, for a lot of people that were like, this is a pretty interesting version of yourself. This new version. You got to understand, I didn't do a podcast interview or any press since 2016. I did 2 interviews in 2016, or 3 interviews, essentially Ed Milet, Tom Bilyeu, and Lewis Howes, and then I didn't do another thing for 5 years, because I was evolving and growing and wanted to really get to a higher level before I began to share sort of my philosophy and ultimately who I evolved into. But man, I was so confused. Like, why do I feel like I am just as out of balance as ever? And that's when I really realized that the third element is capacity, right? Time mastery, energy mastery, and then capacity. And capacity ultimately, again, is the things that you choose to do plus the mind share that you have, because you underestimate how the littlest thing can steal so much mind share from you. Like one big major issue, like of just thinking about something that you have to create or evolve in all of your spare time, all of your surplus of mind share. In my case, it was like trying to create the foundation and trying to like figure out how to get Build with Rob to work. And and really now having to spend time doing all of these interviews and this sort of, and now having, more meetings and having weekly press meetings and having a publicist, like I didn't realize how much actual mind share and thought I had to be constantly putting into that stuff, that I thought just because I put it into my schedule and it perfectly worked with my balanced time, that would be enough. But the truth is I underestimated how much inside my free thinking and free mind share was it taking, which in turn overwhelmed me. Because if you don't have that surplus of mind share to reflect and evolve, you're just never going to evolve and you're going to feel stuck. It's that perpetual growth and evolution and progression towards your ideal life and as you've designed it, is where you drive that energy and belief and that flow state that you're seeking. And you need surplus of mind share to actually do that. And if you get overwhelmed and don't manage it in the right way, like I did, you really got to stop, reevaluate, and then you either got to automate or get rid of things, right? And for me, it was really, I knew these are things that I wanted to do. So I drove the show to automation. I drove and hired the great Charles Choice to run the foundation and really brought order to that. Like I brought order to everything that allowed me to rebalance my mind share and get me back in that harmonious state. So look, I implore to everybody, if you really want a balanced life, you have to take into consideration a balanced mind, because a balanced mind is the cornerstone of a balanced life. And no matter what, you've got to get better and better at looking into the future, designing it in a balanced way, growing into it, reassessing it, and always taking into consideration your time, your energy, and your capacity. And inside your capacity is both the actions that you're taking and the mind share that you're using with everything that's happening in your life. And you want to create balance inside those. That is how you create a balanced life. All right, look, if you're ready to get into it, my man here's got a concept called drop zone that I think you will find interesting. Let's go for it. Clint Norris, welcome to Build with Rob. How you doing, my friend?
Yo, man, Rob Dyrdek, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on?
Oh, look at this. That's spoken like a true TV host right there. You couldn't even just become a guest onto the show without doing an intro because you're so used to hosting the show yourself. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So look, tell me about the vision that you have for Drop Zone, sort of what you believe it can be and sort of like your grand vision for it as a concept.
Sure. So essentially, the goal of the program is to bring something that's new to the network, something that's always exciting and fresh, very similar along the lines of what you guys did with Ridiculousness, bringing, breathing new life into, the clip show format. But as a showrunner, my business vision is to ensure a high return with multiple sources of profitability from each brand that chooses to campaign with us. Once tested, shaped, and validated by the machine method, the IP would then be a partnership with Dyrdek Machine and then passed along to Thrill One, MTV executives, once we get past that testing phase. But I think once we get to that point, man, I think we're going to have something that people really like. I'd love to see the show last until 2026. But as you know, the Valley of Death can be very unpredictable.
Yeah, and look, and I love that you jumped into the business side and using all the vernacular of the Dyrdek Machine while trying to connect it to the production side. But lay out the vision for what the show concept is for the audience who doesn't understand it. I'd love for them to have a better understanding of the vision you have.
So essentially, this is like a talk show meets QVC meets like a YouTube channel. It's kind of all three things packed into one. So every episode, you're going to get, cool stuff from your favorite brands or new brands that choose to show a product. And then it's also kind of tied into, if guests want to show a product that they have a business with, whether it's, like Rob Dyrdek, you've got, multiple businesses that you could campaign with. It's kind of all that mixed into a fun, high energy show on MTV. That's the concept of the show.
And again, like for you, it's like, hey, I developed my own um uh not cable. What was your local access show that was the
Yeah.
late hour? I believe is
Yes,
the
sir.
name, where you were the host, and how many episodes did you end up shooting of that show?
20 full episodes.
Okay, so 20 full episodes,
So
and you learned
yeah.
one of the what I would consider one of the fundamental lessons of creating anything.
Oh,
When you created it first,
yeah.
it's chaotic, and you thought it was going to be one way, and as you continue to do it and evolve and get better at it and see how to make it better and more effortless and higher level of entertaining and more easy to do, by the end, you basically have created a completely different show than you realized when you started at the beginning.
Exactly. So like people out there might say, "Oh, you only did 20 episodes," but here's the thing: every single episode you see is only me and my buddy Travis. Like there, like there's no studio audience in there. All the graphics were done by me. Edited all together. So it was a very very bootstrap operation.
Yeah, and tell me then because I'd love to kind of hear your question, because it'll kind of lead me to like all of my thoughts and feelings about the entire concept and how you should think about it. So hit me with the
Sure.
question and why you chose this question,
Why I chose
your business question.
my business question. Well, because you've been down this road, a couple different times. You've been down it with, Shane Nickerson when you guys were, doing Robin Big and ridiculousness. You've been down this road a couple of times. Um, so something I kind of want to ask you: after you read that Vinny DeBono article, like what did you see in your head as far as ridiculousness? Like what did you start like seeing?
Yeah, and look, it's funny because as you ask that, it's I'm like I looked at it really simply, right? I read the article in Variety or the Hollywood Reporter about Vinny DeBona's America's Funniest Home Videos global syndication business of $500 million. And all I thought to myself was, okay, like America's Funniest Home Videos is cool, but it's just filled with so much fluff and it's so corny and boring. If it's that big, I can make the cool version of it right now,
Yeah.
and I can go and get $500 million just like Vinny DeBona. And the reality of it is I was naive and I didn't fully understand. And I was shooting a reality show at the time, being Robin Big, that I hated how like people being in my house and have to shoot all day and like going out into the street. It was like, I looked at it like, oh, a dream would be to shoot a studio show where I could get the same benefit of like the exposure that I get from television, all that it led to me and the brands that I was developing, but without needing to get up at 9 and have camera crews in my house and be shooting all day. That was sort of the motivation of it. But it was, I didn't understand the business side of what it would even take to even create a syndication model like that. And then furthermore, I didn't, when you go to cable television, there is no syndicated model for cable television. It's only network television. So I didn't even understand the construct of how to realize my version of the success that he created, because I had never even learned the business up to that point. You know what I mean? And as the years went on and ridiculousness became successful, the core idea of make a cooler version of America's Funniest Home Videos did work, right? And then I optimized and evolved the show, and then it became, kind of went through some waves. And then what happened, linear cable basically completely changed to where only a few hero programs from the core cable networks became the only things that worked, which then allowed the show to accelerate even further. But by that time, I had now been able to create a business model behind it that allowed me to build and sell Super Jacket, right? So I really, not only did I evolve how I shot it, but I evolved like how I built the business and was eventually able to maximize its potential earning power through another avenue besides the syndication model that Vinny did. Now, for a note, Vinny asked me to be in America's Funniest Home Videos documentary, and if I would sign off on this interview where I said that I got the idea from old Vinny DeBona, and I said only if I can come meet him and shoot a photo with him. So I was able to go and spend some time with the great Vinny DeBona and tell him about how he inspired it. And then when he found out I was shooting 252 episodes of Ridiculous in a year, his mind was blown. He couldn't even like fathom it. He couldn't fathom that I had already shot more ridiculousness episodes in 10 years than he did of America's Funniest Home Videos in 30. Blew his mind. You know what I mean? Now look, I want to like just give you the straight shot to Drop Zone, in my opinion, because I think you said a couple things inside the pitch that you made that was super interesting, right? And first of all, you built it bigger because you took your experience of the late night show and like looked at like, I want to do kind of a higher level format show. So here's sort of the structure, and then we're going to have guests come on and we're going to have musical acts and they're going to be introduced through this tunnel and come on out. And this is what it looks like. But here's where I think where you have something special in here is, and I just want you to take this for food for thought, right? Because I do not think, if you look at cable television, it's been stripped way down. You know what I mean? Like they hardly even try new programs on ridiculousness, and if they do, they're big shots that are much more sort of easy to understand, that fall more in line with a teen mom and a competition show or a love show. These sort of staples in linear television that work. So this idea of a QVC meets like a gamification, like a QVC meets ridiculousness, I don't think they would have an appetite for it right now. But I don't think that means it's the wrong idea. I actually think it's a super duper smart idea, right? And so, and I'll tell you what I think you should do to start thinking about it a little bit differently. Like what I loved more than anything was this idea of featuring unique products, right? So forget about a branded product where Rob Dyrdek shows up and like, oh, here's the new Mind Right bar that's got the Happy Brain brand with cordyceps and adaptogens and nootropics that can enhance your mood, energy, and focus, right? Like it's the thisiswhyimbroke.com really fun stuff. You know what I mean? That's like, exactly. Like that, when you brought that up, it just sparked me where I was like, wow, like that's actually the core of his entire concept, right? And it's almost like a discovery show of the craziest gifts that you can buy and the craziest products that are out there, which is essentially the entire model of thisiswhyimbroke.com, right? And so when I think about the clearest path for you to turn this into success, to me, it's shoot a mini version of just that segment the way that you would do it and pick a couple items off there and have people like try them out and showcase it. Do a mini version of that and go pitch that to Adam and Tiffany Friedman. Okay, you go to Adam and Tiffany Friedman and you say, hey, Friedman family, I'm old Clint Norris here, and I got a concept that can take your website to the next level. Adam and Tiffany are the co-founders of and the people that own thisiswhyimbroke.com. Okay. And I knew I was like, you're like, Friedmans, who are the Friedmans? Who are the Friedmans? That's the type of research I do.
I should know that.
Hey, look, when I'm starting to think about like, man, that's brilliant. And then I go and start thinking about looking at all the really fun, different like stuff on this website. You know what I mean? There's like,
I know.
Oh, it's like long, like random realistic finger ballpoint pens and like, like just the wildest stuff on here, right? Like invisibility shield, like all these really amazing, interesting, like different things like that are Look at this, a bee revival kit. You could bring a bee back to life on stage. You know what I mean? It's like all of this, like
Resurrection.
think about it, right? And so to me,
Yeah.
so when I think about you focusing it all the way in on like profiling and doing the same fun and hosting the show where you look at the craziest things that are available on something like thisiswhyimbroke.com, you can, the beauty of that is that has great scalability, both from a 10-minute YouTube show and then breaking that down into 1-minute reels and doing the social expansion of it and getting those little things to go viral. And you could do an affiliate program with This Is Why I'm Broke and get paid off of everything that gets sold. But it takes I think the idea is really smart, but it's built to start organically through your own like owned media and distribution through both YouTube and social channels, and then build the buzz, right? And I think like then I think TV potentially would say, hey, he's built an audience, improved this. This could actually be something that would work really great for us. So I just really think like when you think about it, like think about like tightening it up like that and then just building it yourself, because I do think the idea, the way you've created it at a small scale is super original and has huge potential. And you could prove that you deserve to now go and host a full show because you're killing it on this micro show on YouTube and social media.
Sure, man. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it. That was kind of it's easy for me to get sucked into sites like that. Like, oh man, like what's this? What is this product? Just the most like obscure like things are on there.
And look, and build great funny content around it. And then and you could end up doing a deal with QVC. You know what I mean? You might forget about doing a full show that you host. You might end up doing a deal with QVC. I would actually shoot a bunch and pitch it to QVC and be this new fun hour where it's the crazy gifts. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think the idea's bigger and better than trying to go this linear television route where you're gonna make like, what are they going to pay you? Like, $15,000 an episode and like give you like 6 episodes and then like, oh, it's going to see if it works. That day is sort of past, right? Like, but you could scale to it. But I would look at both of those as sort of an opportunity and rethink sort of your approach to it. Cause I really do think that would work. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Look, Clint, 100%. Hit me with your life vision and then that life question, man.
Life vision, man. So, as you say, high quality financial freedom. Every day I want to wake up to, sunshine and have a network of people I can call for any reason just to explore new ideas. And, be a part of projects when we're in the off season, not doing this show. I would love to stay in LA from January to April to avoid the winter, because right now I'm in good old Minnesota, and it is snowing actually right now as we speak. So I need some sunshine in my life.
Yeah, and I love that, man. And look, and again, if the goal is, hey, I'm going to live in these 2 cities because my roots are here, I love being here, but I love entertainment in LA. It's like the pathway first is like, okay, what's it going to cost for me to live in both? Okay, what do I need to make happen to get out to LA? And then how do I begin to build that sustainability and the path to having a business that allows me to do both with a shot at being bigger? And I do think Drop Zone and approaching it a little bit different has that potential, man. Hit me with that life question.
Life question? Okay, so as like sometimes life will just be going, things are going great, and then life can kind of just blindside you and take away, somebody who was really important to you at some point in your life. So like, where do you go mentally to stay balanced when that happens?
I mean, look, if we're talking about the worst case scenario here, you know what I mean? When you're really pulled into the darkness, right, of where it's a much tougher process, someone close to you passes, some dramatic sort of, you lose an opportunity, like you lose a job, like something significant. Man, I do think the grieving process is a real thing. I do think you have to go through a natural cycle of denial, and then accepting, and then ultimately being okay with, and in anything traumatic that happens to you. But why I implore this sort of continual evolution of building harmony in your existence and trying to grow into an ideal version of yourself and an ideal life that you want to live, and learn to master yourself, both from a mind, body, financial, career, relationships, and adventure side, that those sort of 6 core systems that make up your existence, and building harmony in them and growing them over time, is you're able to weather the more traumatic, tougher stuff and with a quicker pace, right? Because what you just don't, if your life is in chaos and then one big thing happens, boy, that's going to sink you for a really long time. And you've got to begin to put together all these pieces. It's just the danger of, being overly working and working too hard and not seeking balance in life and harmony, and trying to grow and evolve and master yourself in life while you're attempting to find success, because these things hit twice as hard when your life is out of balance, and when you're going from boom to bust and working so hard and going through failures and all these different things. Like, so it's important to always be seeking, how do you grow into this harmonious existence? But, when I think about the recent times of weathering the more dark and intense things, like, there's just no way around it, man. And I have, one of the most highly optimized, harmonious, beautiful, amazing lives that I literally rarely even have a negative thought. If I do, it's so isolated. I deal with it. I can easily move past it and move on. And when I get caught in something that pulls me, it's fascinating because it happens so rarely. And it blows my mind that for as much balance and harmony as I have, I still have to weather it. I want to just be grateful, think about all you have, and you can eliminate how tough this is, but it's just not the case. Like, you have to go through that cycle of acceptance and go through denial, acceptance, and ultimately, move forward. But, again, I implore, just continue to work on growing yourself into the ideal version of yourself. And that will always be your greatest cushion to weather any failure or any hardships,
Sure, man. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. You can't it's easy for me to get like hooked into that just weird feeling you get,
Yep.
but like you said, if you, you know, stay optimized, keep doing what you're doing, it'll get you out of it
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah, and again, when you got all these uncertainty in your life, then you get hit with another thing. It shoves you all the way down to you lose belief. Then when you start to
Yeah.
lose belief, then it's like you start thinking, you start thinking of all these things you got to change. Right now, it's like you've just
Yeah.
driven yourself into further chaos. Like, and that to me is part of the early younger days of struggle, when you're just trying to figure it all out. And then you get hit by something out of nowhere, and now it makes you rethink everything. And
Yeah.
your goal is to grow into life to where when you get hit by things, they don't make you rethink everything. That's really where that security and sense of purpose and sustainability and ultimately harmony and happiness is what you're seeking, so you can avoid getting hammered into the throes of chaos that you basically is self-created once your mind takes you there. You know what I mean?
Sure, definitely.
Okay, well, look, man,
have been,
it was great to connect with you, man. I really do think you have something super interesting, and I think you got the ability to just buy a bunch of stuff off the website, reach out, shoot a bunch of concepts of how you'd like to do it, send it to them, pitch it to QVC, and just prove like how fun and how great you could make it as like a little mini show, and see what happens, man. I look forward to seeing that on YouTube.
oh, that sounds dope, man.
All right, look, I wish you the best, man. Well, there you have it. Once again, hey, to everybody I can preach it to, understand those life systems, integrate those life systems, man. Each of those life systems are kind of driven by fear, right? Because you're really trying to design your ideal life out of what you really don't want your current life to continue to be. And if you could just have this way of living, boy, that'd be amazing. And that's really what this, concept is. And then when you get to that state, you really can weather difficult things and unexpected things in a much easier way. So definitely something I'm gonna continue to scream over and over. You continue to listen, and I'm gonna keep yelling at you until you finally do it. Of course, thank you all for listening. Wherever you listen to this show, like it, subscribe it, comment it, favorite it, do all those things. Share it with your homies, share it with your friends. Be like, man, I've really been enjoying this with Rob. We're building together. And of course, if you want to build for real, send us a video to dyrdekmachine.com about a concept, pitch your business to be on the show, become a machinist, collaborate with us. If you feel compelled, donate to our Do or Die Visionary Foundation, and let's help the less fortunate visionary entrepreneurs, because, I'm pushing it on everybody. Look out into the future and make that dream real through a clear plan, because you got the heart to realize it. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.